Awesome. Well, Allie, thanks for being on. If you want to kick us off, I'd love to have you tell
Of
everybody who
course.
you are and about Click.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Dayon. I'm kind of an entrepreneur. Click is my second venture. We launched in April of 2024. Basically, um, I fell in love with home goods, anything from hard to soft goods, food storage, pantry storage, refrigeration storage, and um, after my last venture, I had some time on my hands and I would really shop a lot of the stores, high end, low end. I mean, I would do members clubs, Costco, Sam's. I would go to big box such as, Target, Walmart, some of the smaller stores that are still pretty big, Urban Outfitters, Forever 21, and kind of really saw that whole, I guess you could say, spectrum of retail. I noticed a lot of stores, were selling these categories, but you never really knew who the brand was, or they were kind of selling brands that have been around forever and just been kind of dull and diluted for the space, such as OXO or Pyrex. And these guys have been players in the space for a really long time. And it just felt like there wasn't any love or fun to organization. Obviously, over the last few years, you had brands such as like Caraway that, have done an amazing job at bakeware, pots and pans, and like cookie boards and all those kind of things. They recently got into the organization space, W&P Porter, but I just felt like there was no like Gen Z branded that had like that future retroism vibe that a lot of brands in apparel, footwear, fashion that are currently doing. And I don't know, I just thought it would be fun to enter the space. So after few weeks of navigating and really doing my due diligence, I decided I'm going to give it a go.
That's awesome. Well, I think it looks great, and especially to just have like one product on the market for, I guess now it's been a little over a year for you. It just, people love it. Like, I'm doing, some stuff on the social media, and just the reaction to it is amazing. I was also a customer before I started working with you. Um, and you're right. Like, I mean, no one has any brand loyalty to any type of container. I would say the only one I have now, other than Click, is Fellow, the coffee brand, makes vacuum seal ones for the
The
coffee.
Atmos ones, yep,
Yeah,
it
so I
sucks
have,
out the air.
yeah, I have that, but otherwise, like, nothing else that I really cared about. Um, so now that you've been doing this for a year, like when you first got started, obviously it was like important for you to have like cool branding. I love the work that Little Troop did for Click. Um,
Amazing.
how was marketing kind of approach? Was it still like a bootstrap? Was it like we're going to put everything into this once we launch? What did that look like?
Yeah, so a lot of our marketing has kind of been organic, kind of through UGC and gifting. I would say we haven't spent more than $4,000 to $5,000 on ad spend from
Wow.
April of 24 to June of 25. So pretty much nothing. Um, it's not as easy as like an apparel brand, where you kind of like, oh, I need that, and you add it to the collection. When it comes to storage, it's a little bit more of a deeper thought process. Like, what am I going to put in them? Where am I going to put that? What do I have right now? Am I ready to get rid of those? So it's a little bit more of a process in terms of what the consumer's thinking versus a garment or a piece of clothing where it's like I could just add that into my closet. Um, you know, so we really wanted to understand our consumer the first 12 months. I would say we probably had about anywhere between 800 and 900 customers through our DTC, and um, I would say about 10% of that have returned. So I would say it's pretty high return rate. Like people will, buy two packages, two sets, let's say, and then um, before I know it, like I look at it 6 months later, that same customer ends up, they have now 13 or 14 sets.
Yeah.
So we didn't really want to go like so hard on ad spend and marketing. Um, so that's like just one part of the ad spend. So that was really like the beginning just to learn. And then in terms of like marketing, when we launched the product, um, we had this amazing art direction that like Little Troop kind of ran, where our Instagram was very like whimsical and very fun, quirky, and it was different. It wasn't like anything else out there. But I did learn kind of early on, it doesn't really move product. So like you could have the coolest, video ever, but will it move product?
Yeah.
Not always. Especially like I said, when you're in a space like this, when it's like, it's a little bit, what am I organizing, and where am I going to put this? What am I going to put in it? And you have those questions. It's not as quick as a purchase as like, like say for example, like a vase, or something that's kind of just like you just put out, right?
Yeah.
So there's like that also side of the marketing where it's like, do you want to be like really cool, or do you want to move a lot of products? So like there's times where like we'll try to dive into both, but again, we haven't really learned so much. Again, it's only been 1 year. What is better? Obviously, as a creative, I love the art side of things, but also you want to move product, right? It's a business at the end of the day, and you want to make money, and you have to do that other stuff too. So you kind of, if there's like a happy medium, which we're still trying to figure out, and we hope we will soon. Obviously, we spoke internally, and we're launching a bunch of new products. But I would say in terms of marketing, I think if there's a middle ground of where you could have that really cool, sexy advertising where like you want to watch a video a ton of times, and then there's a way where you could sell the product and what it is and why it's better than the competitors. That's like where you want to be. Because there's so many times where like somebody will come out with an amazing campaign, I'll watch the video 15 times or whatever, but I'm not buying anything. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you have those two things. There's like brand growing, which is great, and brand awareness, which is great. And then maybe eventually down the line when there's something that the company launches, I'll buy it. But there's also like sometimes the brand that has really bad um marketing, but the product, I just kind of need it right now,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna buy it. And or there's a video of like, hey, this helped, this, that, and that, and I'm like, okay, well, I need that right now, so I'll buy it. But then they don't ever have that cool branding video, so it's like, where do which bucket do you want to be in? But I would say over the next 6 to 12 months, we definitely hope to be in a little bit of both. But like, if there's a way to make like one video that does both, that's definitely our goal.
Yeah, I'm sure that's every brand's goal. So far with the last year, are you kind of like living off of? Did you just do one initial brand photo shoot? Have you done any since then? And then I know we've kind of been mixing in UGC and sending out influencer packages, but what's the brand photography look like? And have you invested a lot into that?
Yeah, so we kind of we did a really great shoot early on with Little Troop, and I forgot the photographer's name, but he was great. And we did, cinematography, we did photography, and that kind of like led us for the brand page and a bunch of things like that. But after launch, we kind of went the UGC route. We never really went hard on photography. I'm not really like a big believer of spending money consistently on photo shoots, because I feel like if you're not spending, for example, like you could spend, let's say, 30 or $40,000 on a shoot, and it's amazing, right? And then you could have like an okay shoot that's like 15,000, but it's like not a good shoot. Like it's not good. So like, why would you want to have two or three of those little shoots versus one that you could like spread throughout the course of 6 months, and it's like every time you post it, it's like, wow.
Yeah,
So we only did the one shoot, and then a few months after we did it, we ended up selling, we pretty much sold out a product. And then after that, um a retailer came in and purchased like 70% of the remaining inventory. So we never really had inventory, as you know now. Like, we're really low on inventory. We have about less than 200 units, and we are going back to the drawing board. We redesigned version 2, and we're launching that after the summer. And so we haven't done that, right? There was no like time to really do it. And now I wouldn't go and make an awesome video campaign for a new product. I mean, sorry, for the old product when there's a new product coming. But definitely for the launch of the new stuff, I would go and spend that money and make an awesome campaign and really hire a great photographer and cinematographer and get great marketing.
Yeah, I think like that's been pretty much the goal with most of the brands I've worked with is like let's have an amazing shoot up front because we obviously need this for the website. We can't launch without imagery unless, you just do everything through AI. And then just getting content that we can either add different backgrounds on, do whatever type of editing to just like continue to recycle those. And I think UGC has been really important, especially with a brand like yours. Like the photo shoots would be very different than the food and beverage brands I work with. It's like, yes, we want to do recipes all the time and constantly like show that in different scenarios. But for you, it's like, unless we're just doing product photography, are we renting out 10 different spaces to get 5 photos each? Like, I think
Yeah,
that's why UGC works so well for this is like, we want to see it in unique, real homes and not just sets that we have to pay for. And that's not cheap to do.
for
So
sure.
when
And
you,
so many brands in the space, sorry to cut you off, so many
yeah,
brands in space, it's kind of like, photo that's like really, really close in, and it's really like product shots that it's just not a product shot, but it's similar, it's basically a product shot.
yeah,
And they keep reusing those, and there's like no lifestyle, and there's no like emotion to the shot, right? Like there's no people in it, there's maybe a hand in it, but like again, it's just a hand, and there's not there's no like differentiation between like that and then what was posted, you know, a year and a half later. Like maybe what was inside of the container or whatever it is a different item, but it's like it's so repetitive and it's so the same. And like we really didn't want to do that because there's just so many guys have done that and like nobody knows their names because it just doesn't.
yeah.
There's no touch point to it. So
Yeah, and I think like when we think about the TikTok era of social media, brands are kind of having to allow other people to tell their story because like when you look at something on TikTok, you're not looking to see like who actually posted that. You're either seeing a brand or you're not, whether it's from the brand, a creator, just a regular customer, whatever. So I think like with this, and the people we choose to work with or just customers, like they're building the story of who Click is and how Click can fit into your home by seeing how it's done by other people. Like I think we could pay to be in beautiful spaces and do photo shoots, but like that's not going to be the full shot of inspiration that people are going to need. Because I
no,
think
we
like,
want to. We want to do that,
yeah,
you know.
I
But
think that's been really well to the brand too, especially with some of the creators we're working with right now. Like just super creative homes where I'm not just inspired of how they use Click, but how they've done everything and the other brands that they even have in their house and styling and everything.
no, for sure. And we definitely want to do that. We definitely want to have those photo shoots and we definitely want to have those glamorous moments. But like I said, it just in terms of the timing of like where we were, with what sold down, what was left, we didn't feel like it was needed to, have one of those shoots with so little inventory left. And we definitely plan on it for the future though, like for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, when I see a good campaign, I'm obsessed with it, and I save it somewhere, and I take my notes on like how we could, do something similar in our space, and a lot of guys right now are doing a great job at that.
Yeah, I just saw I don't know if you've heard of it, Matheson Food Company by Maddie Matheson. It's like he has
I've
condiments.
seen it.
His like brand photography and the videos I was watching everything on Instagram today just looks so nice. And I feel like it's just like telling this really cool story that other brands aren't, especially in that space, aren't really doing. Are there other brands that you're kind of watching right now that you like what they're doing on Instagram?
It's a good question. I'm just gonna look to see if there's anyone that I.
I feel like there's a few in the food and beverage space that always get brought up, but I'm just curious, food, beverage, home, anywhere if there's brands that you're kind of paying attention to.
I want to see like even who I follow because I follow so little brands.
Yeah, I feel like I never follow things. It's just like if something randomly comes
Yeah,
up, then I
but
dive
if I
in.
follow it, then I really like
Oh
it.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I was huge. Not that they're like they do much. Just they're like they obviously scaled massively recently. And I guess it's not really like videography or anything like that. But I guess I always love vacation.
yeah.
I've been following that since like COVID. They do a great job. Their branding, their whole like home in on that 70s, 80s, like vintage. That's great. Big fan of that. I don't know. I actually gotta spend more time looking. Um, Remember like ALD, like Amy Ondor, like early. I haven't followed in years, but when I was following it a couple years ago, um, I mean, when they do a new campaign and they have like those crazy videos, um, like in a different country with
Yeah,
characters that fit the plot. I mean, it feels almost like Martin Scorsese directed it. I mean, such a good job.
yeah,
Wes Anderson was always a big inspiration to me in terms of like his cinematography and just the way of like his symmetry and like his colors and like how every shot is so detailed down to like the an inch of a dimension of like whatever. But yeah, I would say brands these days. There's no one I'm not. No one I'm really. No one comes to mind.
and I feel like it's so much too of I love this whole brand versus like I love this one video or one campaign. I feel like it's very like one off with brands these days. I mean, it is hard. Like to your point of what's moving the needle might not be the brand campaign that we want to do, and it's like if there is that good mix in between. But I think like that's kind of what we have to choose from, and there's going to be certain social posts that are for a set goal and others for a different goal. So
Yeah.
I think it is hard to like love a brand holistically, in terms of everything that they do. So going back to, you mentioned you probably only spent $5,000 or $6,000 on ads the last year. Have you, when you launched, like, how did you launch successfully and make sales? Did you pay influencers? Did you just do gifting? Was that when you spent money on ads or just got PR?
Yeah. So we hired a PR firm by the name of By Caro, who's pretty good. Really nice team. Forgot the founder's name. I think it's Caroline. Forget her last name. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but she's really cool. We hired them for like a 3 month launch, and we got lucky. We got a lot of good home, um, journalists or write ups, and I think Fast Company was one of them that wrote up
Oh,
about us. And then Little Troop got from a few design firm publications like wrote up about the branding and how good it was, things like that. And then just a lot of good friends and family posting. So it was very organic. I mean, minus the PR side, obviously, but
yeah,
then a lot of it was organic. Like we never paid for UGC.
yeah,
Um, Maybe once or twice we paid someone like $100 to like do something cool for us, or to spend $100 to fill the jars with stuff. But we never spent more than that. We just kind of got lucky, honestly. Like we got lucky for sure, but uh, just yeah, good network of people that I know were really good to me in terms of posting, and um, I think we launched in a cool way. Like we kind of teasered it. People didn't even know what it was. Like like they were like, "What is this thing?"
yeah.
And then we kind of just launched, and we got to the next level, and then we we sent to this really cool guy. I think his name's Aiden Wing. I don't know if you
Oh,
know him. He's great. Like he
yeah,
posted and did it for free, and that and like that kind of went viral for us. Um, and from there, I would say we probably got like 10% of our followers in
oh
like
wow,
a few days. Yeah, like just from his post. So yeah, I mean, there's always like good organic UGC people that are just cool people that are willing to like work with a brand and like whatever. Um, but yeah, we'd send Aiden anything. He's a cool guy.
yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
and he has a real following. So I would say also you really want to hone in on people that have an actual following.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because there's so many people in the UGC space that are like, oh, it's 10 grand for me to post, and then like they'll post, and then you'll get like 3 sales, and that video got like 200 likes, and it's like okay, like wow.
yeah,
But that's the game, right? You gotta like live it to learn it. I mean, you can't, so many things we did and we lived and we learned it. What works, what doesn't work. Obviously you want to make as little as mistakes as possible, but um it's a good like learning process.
Yeah, totally. So going back to, launch and today, are there any lessons that you've learned that you're like, oh, I wish we would have done this differently, or we did a really good job with that, and we kind of continue to row that train?
Um, I would say I wish we launched with more products for sure. I think a lot of guys in the space, like Caraway comes to mind, right? But like they sell things that are very generic that aren't like needing tooling or anything. Like they'll sell a knife set, which is very generic knife set. But someone that's buying a bunch of pens might need a knife set. So on their way out when they're checking out, it's easy to add and just who doesn't want to get a bigger package in the mail, right? So um, I wish we did have like a few small utensils that we kind of um, added, but also whenever we design something and when we launch something, as you'll see in the next few months when we launch some stuff, we do want everything to be kind of unique and different and special and really have that identity to click. Whether it's color, whether it's magnet, whether it's material, but I do wish we launched with more products because also like once we sold out, it was tough. And also, how many containers could somebody buy?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I wish like we offered more, but I'm also happy because we stayed true to the brand and we didn't just come out with, like something that like a knife set. So um, when it's time and when we have that designed and when we have that ready, then we'll launch that.
yeah. So outside of social media, and I know you mentioned PR kind of at the beginning, are there any other channels you're focused on or have focused on? Do you do email at all?
At the moment, no, we did do it. Again, like I mentioned, we're really low on, like we really don't have products, so we don't want to go and spend and offer this and that and have,
Yeah,
Father's Day discount, all that when we're just focused on the future and not really like what we're working with now. But definitely going forward, I mean, I think email is a great channel. I think dropship is great. If you find good, platforms to be on. Um, and I would say definitely you want to be on Amazon. It's
yeah,
funny when I launched the brand, I was so against Amazon, I just thought it wasn't cool. And then we launched on Amazon and it did extremely well.
that's awesome.
So, you know, and you can get anything on Amazon. I mean, Apple's on Amazon, um, Sony. I'm a big electronic guy, but I'm saying, any brand is on Amazon. So it's not like not cool. And I would say definitely launch with it because that might be your best avenue, and
Yeah,
that just might be your best channel. Um, yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think like over the years, I've had so many conversations about Amazon, and it's always like, does this kind of dilute the brand, or yeah, is it cool and is it okay? But I think like that is such a big driver of sales for so many brands that it's like, why wouldn't you do it? If you know you need to.
no, I mean everywhere. It's just so convenient, right? And
Yeah,
they're
I
like
don't.
it's
I
really
don't
where
so much from Amazon, so
I mean. So it's everywhere. The other day I was in a retail store and I was like, you know what? I don't really want to carry this right now. Let me see if it's on
yeah,
Amazon. And it said like it could be at my house in the morning.
yeah,
So I did that, and I didn't have to walk around with the item all day.
yeah. That's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, to wrap up, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of excited about the next round of products. I'm definitely excited to find out what they are, and sounds like some photo shoots and campaigns are coming. Do you have any like final tips for people that want to start their own brand and try to be scrappy? I mean, I guess from my biggest takeaways from this is like it sounded like it was worth it to invest in branding to be well done from the beginning because that even that's going to do so much for the brand. That's going to lead into PR and stuff as well. But yeah, any just general tips for somebody that wants to be scrappy and start their own brand?
Yeah, I would say there's like really two, like I feel like nowadays there's like two sides of people that start stuff. It's either like a brand focused company or it's like a product driven company. So I would say like if it's on the brand building and you plan to have like a lot of SKUs and you really have it for a long time, I would say definitely invest in it. I think name is so important.
Yeah.
Branding is so important. Color choice is very important. Um, and if you're going in the direction of product, I would say it's not necessary because there's so many things. Like if it's kind of like a gimmick, like I'm trying to think of something, but what did I recently buy? That was like not needed, but I bought it.
I bought
Um,
that. I don't know if you watch TikTok, that nose strip opener thing.
yeah. Okay. So that's great. So I have that too. The magnetic one.
Yeah.
So there you go. See, like, so that's exact great point. Like, see, like that's not a company that needs to focus on branding or spend money on that because, I'd rather spend the money on ads on good content of like why you need to buy this, which is I would think what they did,
Yeah.
um, because it reached me, and I'm not going to be like, oh, I have this brand of that because I sleep with it and I wear it for 7, 8 hours a night and that's it.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect example of like when it comes to product over brand because like you're simply buying it for, you need it for something. Um, and I would say when it comes to that, I would not invest in branding, but early on, I would. And I would say also if you're developing a product, I think it also is always great to work with a great industrial designer. I think that's very key. I remember when I first started with Click, I found an industrial designer on like Instagram, and she just wasn't doing it for me. She was relatively cheap, super cheap actually, and I said, you know what, you get what you pay for,
Yeah.
and I passed right away. And then right after that, I interviewed 26 industrial designers around the world through
Wow.
Zoom, and ended up I found this firm that was super expensive, and they were based in I forget where they're based in Copenhagen maybe or
Sounds about right.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, we're super expensive, so you can't afford us." However, this guy interned for us, a few years back, and he started his own firm, and he's in New York. And I googled him, I found him, and his office, not anymore, but his old office was down the block from my apartment. And I was like, "This must be." And I met, and his name's Joseph Guerrero. He's amazing. We still work on things today, and he really like with my creative and with his also creative, I think we really nailed Click. I don't think anyone would have done a better job, and I would say always invest in a great industrial designer if you are working with physical product because that's the key, right? Like the product's so key and it speaks for itself. So I would say that for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing. If everybody wants to find Click, you can go to clickhome.com.